If you have been thinking about buying the LV Neverfull, then keep watching. I'd like to start with a bit of a story time because every bag that I have purchased has a little bit of story behind it. So for my LV Neverfull, I used to work for St. Vincent de Paul or Vinnie's, which is a charity store here in Sydney or in Australia, way back. I'll actually link a video above and below as well if you want to watch my story from my job history here in Australia as an immigrant. Back in Vinnie's, there was a regular customer that was using it in the same size as well, and I really admired it then. So I bought it in 2018, obviously after my time at Vinnie's, because there's no way I could have afforded that back in the day. So it was very hard to find during that time, 2018. And I bought it for, I have the receipt in here. I always keep my receipts. If you watch any of my bag reviews, I always still keep it. So September 16, 2018, 4 p.m. American time or Pacific time is when I bought it. And I bought it for $1,453.32 US dollars with tax, which now converts to 2,057 Australian dollars in today's exchange rate. It is 3 years and 7 months old, so it's definitely done its time, and it now retails for 2,940 in the Australian side. So that's almost $900 more than what I originally paid for it. I bought it from the Nordstrom Seattle store. I have been looking for it everywhere, as I said, and in fact, before I flew in, I was attending a wedding in Nevada, and I did a stop in Seattle first, and I have inquired to stores in Seattle, but no luck. So I was really surprised that when I walked in to the Nordstrom store, they had it. So I was like, oh my God. And I was really excited, and the customer service was great. I think because I was doing touristy things, it was a solo trip. I was very thirsty, and it's the most appreciated free bottle of water from a designer store that I've ever had. The only downside though, which is quite annoying, is that this purchase isn't showing in my record, which was a bit of a problem when I had it sent for repair, which I will tell you later. Let's talk about the size. This is the, here you go. This is the MM size. There are 3 sizes, and MM is pretty much the medium size. It is called Neverfull for a reason, because it does fit a ton. It's crazy. And I'll show you what fits inside as well in a few. It is a good size for my frame. I stand 5 inches and 2 feet, 61 kilos, so but relatively small frame still, or at least I'd like to think that I still have a small frame. PM, I'll put it there. PM is the other size, and that is the smallest of them all, and I find it is a bit too small, too awkward for a tote bag. And then the GM is the largest, which is just way too big for me. So this is the Damier Azur, which translates to azure or blue. When I first saw it, I thought it was gray. But if these boxes right here, these checks are supposed to be blue. And then if you look really closely, it is actually blue. It's never had any color transfer, as you can see, because if I put it over my shoulder, then it just hits right by the waist. It never hits the hip or the bum, where if you're wearing jeans would have that chances of a color transfer. It is beige inside. I originally wanted the light pink, but that store only had the beige, and I grabbed that opportunity, and I'm actually quite happy that I went for the beige because it's just a bit more neutral, although it is very dirty. But I'm sure if I had it cleaned, I've owned this for 3 years and 7 months and have never had it cleaned, so I'm sure if I do, it'll look okay again. It is also made in the USA. I don't know if everything is that they sell in the US, but I quite like that as well. It is a coated canvas, just like every canvas material of Louis Vuitton. So it's good in a sense that you get it dirty. It's very easy to clean, very easy to wipe. But yeah, the only downside, obviously, it's not leather. I'm sure you already know that at this point. The only leather would be these handles right here. these lining here and this closing clasp and the adjustable laces on the side, and it's made out of cowhide leather, and it's got a yellow stitching across the board. It is gold hardware. The only parts that there is gold is the closing clasp right here and the adjustable laces. Yeah, and of course the zipper in the removable pouch and the zipper in the back pocket as well. And it's got leather there as well, and some you can see there's some branding in the back pocket. So let's talk about this removable pouch. Let's take that off. So it's a, my goodness, if you just click that, it goes away. The patina on this one is lighter because it obviously stays inside the bag for the most part. But what I tend to do, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well, is that if you click that over here again, it gives you a bit of an arm wristlet, and you can use it on its own. It's a gold zipper. You open it up and there's another pouch in there and another branding of Louis Vuitton in leather. The only downside there is obviously it's very thin, as you can see, so you can't really pack it up with a lot of things, but I've worn it for sure. And then this back pocket right here is another zip. There you go. And it's very deep. I like to talk about how deep the back pockets are because it shows how practical and how much you can actually use it. And this one is pretty deep. It almost goes all the way down to the bottom of this bag. So about from here to here is that pocket. So you can put a lot in it, although I'll show you. Again, very thin, so you can't really put a lot in it in a way that it goes bulky, right? So let's talk about the box that it comes with. It's a bit dusty, but see how big that is. You can probably not see me anymore. It's the typical magnet style box of Louis Vuitton, which is great for when you travel because you can collapse the whole thing. Oh, it's probably affecting the magnet. And it also comes with a dust bag. Yeah, so that's the usual dust bag for Louis Vuitton. Here you go. It just has that branding in there as well. It is a large box, but it's very thin, not quite thick, so it doesn't take up a lot of space. Okay, let's put it to a test. Is it really never full? I'll show you what fits inside and what I usually take with me to work, and a little extra things, I suppose, that I will mention if I don't normally bring along with me. All right, so let's start with my laptop. This is a 13-inch Apple MacBook. This is actually my personal laptop, but my work laptop is exactly the same, slightly newer, but the size is exactly the same. So let's put that in there. That's one thing. Okay. And then my notepad. Oh God, making everything shaky. So I got my notepad with me here. It's just very small. I don't like big notepads in there. And I bring 2 pouches. One for all my, I call it dirty stuff. So my keys are in here, my wallet's in here, and my work badge. And if I have any pen or AirPods, I would put it in here as well. This is my other pouch with my toiletries, so hand cream, tissues, sanitizer, floss, oil blotter, anything that's kind of in that same vein would be in this purse. So as you can see, still a lot of room in there. Okay, so now other things that I don't always necessarily bring: bottled water, because obviously I have my own bottled water that I just leave at work, or I can grab a glass as well, and it forces me to keep going back and forth, but I have it in there. I always have a phone. This is Wade's work phone that I'm borrowing for this demo. Pop it in there. Sometimes it's sunny, so I'll pop that in there. So if I am wearing heels and I am driving or commuting, I don't think I've ever driven to work, to be honest, during a work day, I would put my heels in a bag like this, and I would wear my flip-flops or a like foldable sandals of some sort. So put that in there, and I'll just put that on top, and that's it. Like, really, I'll move the camera so you guys can see it, but that's it. It's basically still a lot of room in there, but that's pretty much, that's a lot. If this could be your lunch if you have a different bag. So you can definitely put a lot in it. However, be mindful that it could get heavy, but the bag itself is very light, so that I probably wouldn't put more than that because it gets pretty heavy. But the laptop there really is the one that's adding the weight. So Marielle, how's the wear and tear after 3 years and 7 months? So it's pretty much almost 4 years old, right? So 3.5. First, I have to tell you that this is probably one of my most used bags, and I fill it up to the brim, as you guys saw earlier. So it does get really heavy. I fill it up that I'm worried sometimes that one day the straps will give, but it hasn't. It has also survived plenty of travels. Mostly work travel is what I use it for. And so it gets shoved underneath that economy chair, sometimes premium economy. So it gets shoved in there. Perfect. Yeah, it's still fine. It's definitely in an excellent condition. Well, it's definitely in a great condition, I would say. Not necessarily excellent, but I don't baby my bags. I've said that in every review, I think, because things are meant to be worn and actually have its own wear and tear. So it doesn't mind me as long as it doesn't actually break it. It's very dirty inside. As you can see, those black edges, that's from my laptop. And where that metal there hits is also fairly dirty. It can be cleaned for sure, so I'm not too fussed about that. The straps have definitely been worn, as you can see. I'll show you guys. Yeah, hopefully you guys can see that. It's supposed to look more like this. See that dark, how dark that was, and then the seal. That's how it's supposed to look like. But obviously this part right here where it carries the most weight over my shoulder and where it gets really a lot of contact with the skin and oil is no longer like that. Although that's fine, again, you know, it's part of that wear and tear. At the moment, it is still in that perfect patina. I've seen darker ones and I'll show you a photo of it. I don't quite like it, so maybe I'll do a 10-year review. Who knows if it'll get to that point, but this is the perfect patina for me. And you'll notice that this is the one of the lace, and this is another one. And you'll see how different that color is. And I'll tell you the story. This part of the lace, so this one right here, just randomly broke one day. So I sent it for repair and was quite disappointed that I had to pay $100 for that repair. And it's actually the second LV bag that I've sent for repair. The first one was free. It is over 100 Australian dollars, and they asked me if I wanted to do both. That way, obviously it's at the same shade. Then I'm like, no, thank you. Don't need that. That's all good. Because this part will all be darker anyway, so I just left it. It's all good. I'm not too fussed. So the bag, as I said before, wasn't showing up in my record, so it worried me a bit because it took some time when I sent it for repair, because obviously Louis Vuitton is really careful to make sure that they only take authentic bags and they don't want to repair anything that is a replica or a fake. How do I store it? As you can see, right there, I have a pile of boxes and I have some bags on display. But this one in particular, I store inside the box. So I do fold it. So I store it like it was sold to me. Yeah. So I would fold it like so, put it inside a dust bag, and then put it in a bag laying flat. So that's just how it's delivered to you as well when you buy it. It hasn't left a fold mark or anything. I do use it a lot, though, so it comes out on a regular, not during pandemic because I wasn't going to the office. What do I like about the bag? This is, I believe, my third Louis Vuitton bag that I have bought, if my memory serves me right. I will link up my Speedy B25 review up above and below if you want to give that a go. That was my first one. I used to have a thing where I wanted to collect older made materials, so the monogram, the Damier Azur, the Damier Eben, and the Empreinte, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering all these pronunciations, and the Epi leather. And right now, the only one that I don't have is the Epi leather, and I've been eyeing the Alma BB or the Neonoe BB as well, but I am a recovering shopping addict, so I'm waiting for the right reason and the right color before I purchase anything. Of course, it is a classic. You know, the Neverfull has been around for a very long time. It is very durable. It's very low maintenance type of bag, and it actually surprisingly goes with a fair bit. And all my LV bags are hot stamped with my initials as well. This one has MRP in it, so if I can, I do hot stamp it because I like things personalized. And let's talk about the 2 ways that you can supposedly wear this bag as well, or use this bag. Yeah, number 1, obviously, is like so, just over your shoulder, right, as a shoulder bag, tote bag, straightforward. And then if you fold it in a little bit, all right, God, if you fold, oh my, here you go. So you can fold it in like this, like that, and you would pull this adjustable lace, yeah, okay, all the way through. All right, and it becomes more like a drawstring. I'm not doing it justice right now, but yeah, so it becomes a totally different size of bag, different look, and it's more of a drawstring bag. However, it is almost BS. It's almost BS because it always goes loose. That at some point, that this part here would go loose, and it's like, leave me alone. I'm a tote bag. Leave me be. And of course, the size is just perfect for work, and it is a very practical bag. So those are the things I really like about it. And of course, there are things that I also don't like about it. Number 1, it does go with a lot, but given the print, it's not your grab and go type of bag. At least for me, because of this print, I don't like wearing it with, say, polka dots or stripes, where it's just really contradictive type of patterns. It's not exactly very discreet. How much more the monogram? But yeah, it's not very discreet. Everyone knows this material, this print. They'll know it's Louis Vuitton. But depending on what your style is, I do have a lot of screaming brands as well, so don't get me wrong. But lately, the style has changed, and I really liked, well, I say lately, but for years now, I prefer a more discreet bags and clothing. Of course, I don't like the fact that it just broke randomly. Things you do use, and I do use this a lot, so I understand if something breaks, but not the part of the bag, but not the part of the bag that I barely touch. So that I don't get, and it was just like, what's going on? Now, would I buy this bag again? Knowing what I know emotionally, yes, because going back to that story again when I was still working at Venice and seeing that customer wearing it and really admiring it, that story means a lot to me. So yes, I would still keep it, and I've got a lot of wear from it. It's in the amount of pounding, probably not the right word to use, that this bag has gotten from my use. It served me very well, and it still does. So I know that I will get the most out of my money and a lot of wear from it. So that's a yes. However, if there were no emotions attached to it, I would probably say no and go for a plain tote bag instead. But still definitely a tote bag, which is really good for work. There's an Hermes one, and they do have the epi leather of this as well. So I probably would have gone for something that is plain and maybe all leather, right? And also it's very expensive now for just a canvas. So I hope you found that useful. If you have one yourself, let us know in the comments what you think. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I'd really appreciate it. You can watch my LVB25 speedy review and the rest of my fashion related content in here. Thank you so much for watching. See you again next time. Take care. Bye.